Hello students, we have seen that carbon always forms covalent compounds. Now when we know that carbon forms covalent compounds and covalent compounds contain covalent bond in them which is formed by sharing of electrons. So with that basic knowledge, today we are going to discuss properties of covalent compounds. Let us begin. The first one we are going to discuss is conductivity. As well as we will try to compare these properties with ionic compounds. We know that ionic compounds are good conductors of electricity in molten or aqueous state. This we have already studied in our previous chapters. But covalent compounds, they are bad conductors of electricity because they do not produce any kind of ions. Whereas ionic compounds, since they produce ions in either molten or in aqueous state, and these ions or charges are responsible for conductance of electricity. Whereas in covalent compounds, this is not the condition. But here you have to remember one exception. Exception, that is graphite. Graphite, which is an allotrope of carbon, is a covalent compound and it is a good conductor of electricity. The second property is melting point or boiling point. Now for ionic compounds, we always say that ionic compounds, they have high boiling and melting points. If we discuss for ionic compounds, they have comparatively high melting points and boiling points. Why? Because they have a strong force of interaction in them. On the other hand, covalent compounds, they do not show high melting or boiling points. Comparatively, they show low melting points or boiling points. Now, what is the reason behind this? Why covalent compound shows low melting and boiling point compared to ionic compounds? In ionic compounds, what I have told you, they have a strong force of interaction between them, or I will say the strong electrostatic force present in ionic compound which is absent in covalent compound. So I will say that as the force of attraction between the molecules of covalent compound is comparatively low or is comparatively weak. Therefore, it becomes very easy to break the bonds between them, and as a result, they will have low melting point or boiling point. For example, sodium chloride, which is an ionic compound, will show high melting point or boiling point. On the other hand, let's say methane. Methane is a covalent compound and it will show comparatively low melting point or boiling point. Moving on to third property, that is solubility. Now we know that ionic compounds, they are polar compounds and therefore they are soluble in polar solvent. Okay, but covalent compounds, these are non-polar compounds. Covalent compounds, these are non-polar compounds and therefore they are soluble in non-polar solvent. This is the phenomena which we have studied in our last videos also. I have told you that it is the phenomena like dissolves like. If there is a polar solute, it will dissolve in the polar solvent, and if it is a non-polar solute, it will dissolve in non-polar solvent. The non-polar solvents, these are like ether, benzene, etc. So these are the properties of covalent compounds. All the covalent compounds, we can represent them with the help of a dot structure. Basically, we can represent them with the help of dot and cross. Generally, we don't ask the students to draw a dot, we ask them to write cross only, and the structure is called as Lewis dot structures. So Lewis dot structures we can represent for homoatomic molecule, heteroatomic molecule, or similar atomic molecule, etc. So we'll begin with the examples. The first one, hydrogen. To draw the Lewis dot structure, we have to remember one very basic rule, that hydrogen always want to complete its duplet. That means 2 electron in the outermost orbital, and all other elements, they want to complete their octet. That means 8 electrons in their outermost shell. So with the help of these two basic rules, we will be able to draw dot structures of all covalent compounds. Now hydrogen. There are 2 hydrogen atoms, and in each hydrogen atom there will be 1 electron. This hydrogen atom will also have 1 electron. Now what happens? Both hydrogen will share this electron. This hydrogen will share its own electron with the neighboring one and will form a bond. These two will represent bond, and we say there exists a single bond between hydrogen atom in a molecule of hydrogen. So this is how we represent the structures, I will say dot structures of covalent compounds. We are going to discuss many examples now. Let us discuss the example of oxygen. So in a molecule of oxygen, there are 2 atoms of oxygen, and there will be 6 electrons in the outermost shell of each oxygen atom. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, 6. Another oxygen atom will also have 6 electrons in its outermost shell. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, 6. Now how oxygen will complete its octet? By sharing electrons. How many electrons it require for completing octet? 2. So these 2 electrons it can easily share with the neighboring oxygen atom. As you can see, inside this circle there must be 8 electrons. Each cross represents 1 electron. So this oxygen has completed its octet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Similarly, the second oxygen atom will share 2 electrons with the neighboring one. And inside this circle, this is representing second oxygen atom. It has also completed its octet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, 8. So how many bonds will be formed in that case? 1 and 2. So we say 2 bonds exist, or a double bond exists in a molecule of oxygen atom. Let us discuss one more example, that of nitrogen. Remember, here we are representing only the outermost shell electrons, and that also with the help of either dot or cross. But it is always advised to use a cross, because the dot may not be visible to the examiner when you are writing the answers in board exam. So always it is preferable that you will draw a cross. Okay, so nitrogen, how many electrons in the outermost shell? 5. So we have represented 2 nitrogen atom. How many electrons each nitrogen atom required to complete the octet? 3. So 5 it already have, and 3 it will share from the neighboring nitrogen atom. Now let us see whether octet is completed. Yes, the octet has been completed for 1 nitrogen atom. Similarly, for another atom, the octet will be completed by sharing the electrons. How many bonds will be formed? 1, 2 and 3. So we say in a nitrogen molecule there exist 3 bonds. All these examples we have discussed, they were of similar atoms. Or I will say all these were homoatomic molecule. Now let us study some dissimilar atomic molecules or heteroatomic molecules. Now the next example is of ammonia. In ammonia there is one nitrogen atom and 3 hydrogen atoms. We will represent outermost shell electron of every atom in this molecule. Like hydrogen has 1 electron in their outermost shell. So I will draw 1 cross in front of hydrogen, which represents outermost shell electron of nitrogen. Similarly, 5 electrons are present in the outermost shell of nitrogen. So I will draw 5 electrons. Now how each one is going to complete their octet or duplet? Hydrogen will share 1 electron with nitrogen atom and it will complete its duplet. Okay. Now what about nitrogen? It has 5 electrons plus it will share 3 electrons with hydrogen atom each. Now just count the number of electrons in the circle of nitrogen. They are 8, indicating the octet of nitrogen is complete. So let us draw the bonds here. So there will be 3 bonds in a molecule of ammonia. The next one is carbon dioxide molecule. So carbon I will write at center and oxygen I will write at 2 corners. How many electrons are present in the outermost shell of carbon as well as oxygen? We know in oxygen in the outermost shell there are 6 electrons. So let us draw 6 electrons for each oxygen atom. Now carbon has 4 electrons in its outermost shell. So obviously we'll draw 4 electrons. Now let us complete the octet of every atom in this molecule. Oxygen with its own 6 electron will share 2 electrons from carbon, thus completing its octet. Similarly, this oxygen also with its 6 electron will share 2 electron from carbon, completing its octet. Now how carbon is going to complete its octet? Its own 4 electron as well as 2 electron each it will share with each of the oxygen atom, and thus it will form a covalent compound. Now the question is the number of bonds. 1, 2, 3 and 4. That means carbon will form double bond with every oxygen atom. Now this structure is an important one. Next one is hydrogen sulfide, H2S. Again we know that there is 1 electron in the outermost shell of hydrogen, but sulfur, it has 6 electrons in its outermost shell. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, 6. Okay, let us complete the duplet for hydrogen. How sulfur is going to complete its octet? Its own 6 electrons and 2 electrons more it will share with hydrogen. Bond formation 1, 2. So H2S will have 2 bonds in it. Now we have come to a little bit a complicated molecule, sulfur. Now sulfur is a polyatomic molecule. That means it has 8 atoms in its one molecule. Then how the bonds will be formed? We can show the covalent bond formation in sulfur in the form of a ring. Now each circle represents 1 sulfur atom. So I will write sulfur in every circle. And we know that there are 6 electrons in the outermost shell of sulfur. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Now the next sulfur 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So like this, sulfur will share its electron with its adjacent as well as the previous atom. So now let us complete all the atoms. I have completed the whole structure of S8, each circle representing 1 sulfur atom and each circle has completed its octet. Just see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, 8. The name of this structure is ring structure. We can represent S8 molecule in the form of a crown also. Sulfur atom can be arranged in the form of a crown. Where the sulfur atom will be occupying these corner positions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. This each bond is represented here. Okay, and the remaining electrons we can represent so we can draw both crown structure as well as ring structure. In the exam, if the question says draw the crown structure, then you have to draw compulsorily the crown structure. If the question says you have to draw the ring structure, then compulsorily you have to draw the ring structure. So depending on the question, your answer will change. Let us move on to some more complex molecules. We'll discuss the structure of ethane. Ethane is a compound of carbon. Its formula is C2H6. That means there are 2 carbon and 6 hydrogen atoms. Let us draw the outermost shell electrons of hydrogen. And now we'll draw the outermost shell electrons of carbon. In carbon there are 4 electrons in the outermost shell, out of which 3 have been used and 4th will be occupied here. Now how the duplet of hydrogen will be completed? By sharing 1 electron of carbon atom. So hydrogen duplet is completed, but now how carbon is going to complete its octet? And there are 2 carbon atoms. So for this carbon, 1, 2, 3, 4, then 5, 6, 7, 8 electron it will share with the neighboring carbon atom. Now just check out, this carbon has completed its octet. Similarly for this carbon atom, these 4 electrons, 3 more from hydrogen and 1 more from the neighboring carbon. So this is how we are going to draw the dot structure of ethane. Let us see the bond formation 1, 2, 3. This way we are going to do. Now again there will be a bond between carbon-carbon. So total how many electrons have been, how many bonds are formed? 6 bonds have been formed in a molecule of ethane. So this is how you have to draw the dot structures for various compounds, especially the covalent compounds. We have to remember basic rules that hydrogen has to complete its duplet and the other element has to complete its octet. And the second rule we have to remember that we are considering only the outermost shell electrons for drawing these structures, and these outermost shell electrons will be represented with the help of a cross. Based on today's video, here are certain assignment questions for you people. Try to solve them on your own. That's all for the day. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.